Hello everyone, my name is Al, and welcome to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Today, for our first game, in the top right, our purple Zerg player, he is Solar. In the bottom left corner, our yellow Protoss player. From South Korea, we have Classic, or as this name suggests, Lassic. So, if you have a look at the scores, you will see that it's 0-0. That is not a mistake. Today, I'm bringing you a best of 3 series between these two players. Now, I haven't done best of 3s yet, or best of 5s, because the recording time for them takes a little bit longer, and I've been trying to keep my videos to a shorter length, around the 20 to 30 minute mark. So, I do know that this series isn't a 3-hour series, so I'm able to do that. But it's also kind of interesting because I want to talk about these players, specifically this Protoss player, who is actually under a barcode account. Just pretend that doesn't exist. It's Classic, it's not barcode. So, Classic is a Protoss player who has already completed his mandatory military service. And now this is an important thing to note, because there are a bunch of really good Protoss players out there busy doing their military service, which is a bit of a shame for StarCraft. Obviously they have to, and no offense to any of the systems, that's the way that they work. But what's really great is that because he's already done, he can focus himself back on StarCraft. If you don't know who Classic is, he has won his fair share of tournaments. He has a GSL Code S. He's won a bunch of GSL Super tournaments. He's placed second and thirds in a bunch of different tournaments. He's gone far in IEM events as well as BlizzCon. You know, he's championship material. Now, he plays a very solid style of Protoss, and we're going to kind of see what he's like. Now, if I'm not mistaken, he finished his military service towards the end of last year, so he's been back for about a year. Now, in recent history, a lot of the pros that are coming back after their service are actually able to, compete again. And for a long time in StarCraft, it was kind of like when you do your military service, that counts as retirement, because they end up going for, I think it's 1.5 years or 2 years. And by the time you come back, the game has changed. So the strategies that they were really good at, they don't work anymore. Recently, the guys are they're adapting quite well. I mean, you look at Hero, he's adapted well. Even to certain cases like Dream, players like that, they've become quite competitive again. Solar, I've casted him a bunch on the channel. I think probably one of the most underrated Zerg players in the world. And it's quite sad because he's such a consistent player. Solar just consistently does well. He is always ranking up in tournaments. He's doing well in GSL. He's doing well in these offline events. And he seemed to be quite a nice fellow as well. So, really interested to see what he makes of this game as well. Best of 3, obviously. Now we're going to see the real build-up from match 1 to match 3. Well, yeah, match 3, if it goes that far. It could be 2, could be 3. So we'll have to keep an eye on how these players progress in this series, which is really fun. At this stage, we see the Stargate 4 Classic, along with the 3rd Nexus coming up. Solar's already got his 3rd base up. He is preparing for the Oracle that's going to be coming in. He's got his spores up and running. And at this stage, he's just droning. 2 Oracles on the way. And we'll see how Classic plays this. Is he going to play, the style that he played when he left? Or is he going to play a more hero-esque style? We do see Twilight, as well as the Forge coming up. So that indicates that he's going to go for that Gateway Army. He's probably going to be going into Blink, and then eventually Charge as well. Unless he goes for an Adept All-In or something. So don't think so, not off 3 bases. He's going to move these around, see what he can get done with them. I've spoken about Protoss versus Zerg a lot lately, and I think it's a very It's a very fun matchup at this stage. There's so many different openers, which is a pleasant change. Yeah, Stasis Wards. Oracles, very good unit. Oh, nice little micro, keeping it safe there. But yeah, very interesting matchup, very different ways to open. I think Twilight openers, Robo openers, well, I mean, everything opens with Stargate, let me say it that way, generally. But we're not in the same era where it was open with Stargate, make Void Rays, go to carriers, sit back, and just defend until you've got carriers. You see that a lot still on the ladder. I play against that myself a bunch of times. I lose against that pretty much every time. It's an easier play style. I don't want to say it's easier, because you can still die. You're quite weak until a certain point in the game. So I don't want to judge the build order. I know there's a lot of people that'll get very angry with Skytoss, with the sitting back and turtling Protoss, but yeah, you still have to know what you're doing. Yeah, and that was the playstyle. That was it. It was extremely boring. It was just, okay, sit back, wait for Skytoss. And meanwhile, the Zergs kind of just try to do something, realize they can't, then they just make spore forests all over the map. Solo has a bunch of Zerglings running all over the map. They're just doing the marathon at this stage. We do also see the Templar archives having been built, and a couple of High Templar are being warped in. Yeah, there they are. So he's going for Storm actually, which is quite a different version that we see. Normally we see heavy focus on Stalkers and things, but at this stage he's got a couple of Depths, couple of Stalkers, and then High Templar. High Templar Splash, obviously very good against Zerglings, very good against Hydras too. Very good against Hydras. Hydras are insanely squishy against the Storms. Not fantastic against Roaches, but at this stage he hasn't seen any Roaches, so he doesn't need to worry about that. Solar's response is Swarm Hosts, so he's gonna go Swarm Host Nidus against this. Okay, don't see that every day, but could work. Ooh, this Oracle is so low. Yeah, one Oracle goes down. They are flying very aggressively over creep. Zergling over here, he's gonna be the spotter for the Nidus. Overseer on the other side, just having a look. Is the Nidus gonna come up on this side? We'll have to wait and see. One Stalker's gonna be rallied in just to deal with that. Okay, so there it is. Nidus on this side, which means that Solar's gonna be launching those Swarmmost, or the Locust at least, from the Swarmmost towards this base. And it becomes a game of whack-a-mole. There it is. Here they come. Alright. Let's shoot them. Go. There we go. And there they go. The slow fly across. Just warping in a couple of things to defend. And these Locusts have such high DPS. They're gonna get the Nexus. Barely, but they do. At the same time, there is a fight here on this side. Ooh, those Banelings got trapped. He's running Zerglings as well. Getting a little bit of a more forward Nidus. The Stalker's going to try help deal with that. This army is going to come try to do something. So he's harassing with his Zerglings and Banelings while using Swarmers. Ooh, Storm, ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Run away. Yeah, you can see Storm just kind of eats up those Zerglings. Classic, he's quite content to just stay on his Templar with gateway support. Ooh, gotta watch your targeting. Storm on the Locust. Yeah, I think so. Or Classic at least has repelled that. He's got 2 Robos at this stage. Not building anything from them, but we'll have to see what he makes of it. Zerglings, Banelings trying to attack this third base again. Ooh, good wrap around here, getting some good damage. Get the Immortal, get the Immortal. There we go. Alright. Solo doing very well here. He is up in supply. I think Classic is sitting with his back against the wall. And Immortals against Zerglings and Banelings, not really the ideal unit that you want to deal with them. Yeah, Solo is just eating up this map. I think here comes the Locust Wave. I think Classic's in a lot of trouble for this first one. He has lost so much. His supply is so far down. That's 20 workers down. GG is called. Solo takes game 1. Alright, and we are on map number 2, Moondance. And Solar is now spawning in the top left with Classic in the bottom right. So very interesting push there with the Zerglings, Banelings, and the Swarmhost. The Swarmhost Knight is really dealing the damage and making it so that Classic just couldn't expand. He couldn't get anything done. We'll have to see what happens on this map, because this is Moondance. Now if you have a look here, Moondance has this pocket base, which is extremely hard to defend. Extremely hard to attack. That's the one. Easy to defend. As a Zerg player, you don't have medevacs or something like that, so trying to get in here is relatively difficult. So Protoss can build up into this base. The only problem is there is only 6 mineral patches and a single gas. So this is not the same amount as your normal base, which has 8 and then obviously 2 gases. So what we often see, yeah, and here it is Zergs taking their third base, or in this case the natural, more forward. Helps for their reinforcements. And then eventually they might take this one, but it kind of more acts as like a macro hatch with a little bit of mineral gathering. Say you get stuck on 3 bases or you pin back a little bit, then you can always take it later. Protoss is going to take this one, and I assume he's probably going to move his third base to that direction. He should be quite happy with that. We'll have to see if Classic does that and how he recovers from that first game. I don't think he played poorly. I think Solar just came up with a sharp timing on those swarm hosts and the locusts, and that really allowed him to push a strong lead. Classic otherwise looked pretty decent. His engagements were not horrible, but yeah, he's gonna just have to keep an eye on anything tricky that Solar tries to play. We'll see if he goes into that Twilight and High Templar again. I don't think it was a bad call, but I don't know, maybe he'd be better off going Stargate, or just focusing a little bit more on his gateway units, being a little bit more aggressive with them. However, that being said, Classic is not the aggressive player that someone like Hero is, for instance. He's very much focused on playing a macro game, so he'll sit back, he will harass, but he's going to try and cause problems once he's massed up his army. He's not going to be like Hero, who is constantly on the other side of the map. Annoying little double pylon. Wow, that's quite extreme. He's just going to use that to be irritating, which I think he's succeeding in doing. He's going to let that one... Oh, he's not going to let it finish. Now the Adept is here to delay this a little bit further. This is quite annoying for Solar. I think this is a very, very good start for Classic, just being able to disrupt this third base. I mean, 311. He does it again. He's gonna lose the Adept for it, but I think that was well worth it. 320. It's quite a bit later than what Solar would have wanted to get it up. Do see an Oracle again. 2 gases so far. Trying to get more workers onto his natural. Yeah, this place is much later than it should be. We'll see if Solar reacts to it. He's already getting his spores up. He's just being so careful. Just being absolutely careful. Did he see the Stargate? Yeah, he did. He scouted it. Okay. Ooh, a couple of Zerglings get in. They're going to get some scouting info finished. Through. Trying to run from the Oracle. Is he going to do... No. They do see the third base going up here. Yeah, you see, and there it is. Classic taking the third base. So he's going to be easily able to get up to... What is this? Maybe 2 3/4 bases. Yeah, he'll be quite happy with this position, I think. Solar, he's not even up in workers yet. Well, I mean, he can't do too much more droning. The bases are going to finish not too far apart. 2 more oracles. Seems to like the 2 oracles. Again, Twilight and Gateway. Alright. He's going to try it again. Maybe he's aware that, you know, it was just a build order thing that he lost to those Swarmhosts. Okay, 2 workers going down. Pushing on both sides here. The Adepts just kind of shading in. Seeing if they can get anything done. This stage is going... Oh wait, that's the things I just talked about. Lol. Yep, it's just putting a little bit of pressure on. Bunch of Zerglings. They should be able to defend quite well. So now he's going for Blink. Alright, so this is more kind of what we've been seeing from Protoss recently. Going into that Blink, getting a bunch of Stalkers, and we'll see if he gets aggressive with it. I think he kind of has to. 4th base coming up for Solar. Yeah, he saturated his 3 bases. I think he'll be happy with that. Let's see these Zerglings. They're gonna poke and prod a little bit at the Adept. Shouldn't get too much done. Now Stalker's coming to help defend. Oh, does lose the Adept. Not ideal, but not the end of the world. This Oracle's gonna jump back in. He's not gonna get any more. Just the 2. He sees that this base is not up. Probably gonna go looking for that the next base. Baneling Nest back up again. Oh, be careful. Oh, that's a bad rally. Yeah, I don't think that was ideal. 4th base coming up. So these 2 just macroing quite happily. Yeah, I think we're in a good spot. Solo going for gases. I'll have to see where he decides to go. He's going for melee upgrades. Is he going to go for Hydras and Lurkers afterwards? I assume he's going to wait and see what Solo is busy with. There's the Infestation Pit coming up. So that could mean that he's going to go into the Hive. Maybe for Vipers, maybe for a couple of Infestors. Maybe he just wants to take straight up to Broodlords. Is that a viable thing? Yeah, I guess he can. He's got enough gases. This base is almost saturated. He should be able to. Oh, the economy is looking very good for these 2 so far. But here we go. Classic is moving out onto the map. He's getting +2 already. So upgrades should be relatively even. Now he's going to try to deal with a bit of this creep. I think this is better. You've got to be a little bit more aggressive. Nice catch on the Queen. As a Protoss player, if you want to play the style of expanding rapidly, which he's doing because the 5th base is coming up, you've got to be aggressive. You've got to keep the Zerg back. You can't just let them... you can't let them roam free and have time to out-expand you. So that's what he's trying to do. This stage he is pulling back a little bit to deal with a changeling. Okay. Robo coming up, we'll have to see. I think he's going to go into some Immortals, maybe into Disruptors thereafter. Baneling Speed coming up. And yep, there it is. We see the Lurker Den. Lurkers, very good against the ground army of Protoss. That's a lot of Zerglings. Sending a whole group off to the side. Gonna try for a little bit of a run-by. Always good when you're a Zerg. Keep sending those run-bys. Oh, there we see the Robotics Bay. And do we see another Robo coming up? Yeah, he's got 2 Robos. Okay. He's going to go for a Gateway and Robo army. Quite nice to control those, but they need to be careful of Lurkers. Disruptors can deal with Lurkers. Obviously, because 2 Disruptor shots can kill a Lurker. Nice little Stasis Ward. So you just push that army, tag it with the Oracle, and then use your Disruptors to pick apart the Lurkers from a distance. Solar is now going for his 5th in the pocket expansion. Probably doesn't want to expand this way yet because it's going to make it a little bit difficult to defend. Army is growing. He's not going to make Lurkers yet. He needs to wait for those upgrades. Adrenal glands on the way. Watch out, Queens. Oh, that's a lot of Stalkers. Ooh, couple get picked off. That's a lot of Zerglings too. Although, to that being said, there's almost about as many Stalkers as there are Zerglings. Morphing 7 Lurkers at the moment. That's going to be quite useful for the defense. Alright, so if you didn't know, Stalkers, they're not amazing against Lurkers. How dare you! He just disrupted his own Stalker. That's a disruptor. That is a traitor. I think it should be, you know, shamed in front of the rest of the army. To be fair, it's just 1. If that was me, it would have been like 12. He is getting up the extended thermal lance to deal with Hydras. Colossus, like the High Templar, very good against Hydras. Second upgrade coming up. This is the Burrow Speed. Yeah, I think this game is looking pretty good. So, the reason why is going to want to get Colossus is because Disruptors, they can deal a lot more damage, War Prism, than your Colossus in a short amount of time. But they are not consistent damage. Ooh, good little yoink there. Disruptor. Not Disruptor. War Prism gets taken down. Ooh, don't walk into lurkers. The ground is sharp there. Be careful. Yeah, there we go. Bang. One lurker down. Disruptors do get surrounded. Stalkers. Run, Stalkers, run. Ugh, I think he's getting himself in a bit of a corner here. Zerglings like dealing with Stalkers. Recall. Only going to get rid of the middle Stalkers. Oh, that's a lot lost. In terms of units lost, yeah, Classic's lost a bit more. Solo is just looking a little bit better than Classic at this stage. And here we go. The lurkers are now burrowing in an aggressive forward position. What are you going to do against this, Classic? Okay, bring in a couple of zealots. That's nice, but are they going to do anything? Oh, I don't know about that. Solo supply is much higher. He's on almost maxed out. Classic struggling behind a little bit. Yeah, I think the second game is safe to say that it is a Zerg win. Yeah, GG is called. Alright, we see ourselves in game 3. Solo up 2-0. He is on match point. Can Classic come back? And just so that you know, now that I'm thinking back to it, I am not sure if I said that this was a best of 3 or a best of 5. I think I said a best of 3 because my brain was thinking 5, but my brain and my mouth do not always work together very well. So it's actually a best of 5. This was in the playoffs of the tournament, the TSL 9, just by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. Oh well, now I did. So if I said best of 3, please excuse me. It was actually a best of 5. I would go back and edit that away, but unfortunately I am running out of recording time because my electricity is going to go out in about 20 minutes or so. So I won't be able to go back necessarily and re-record that match before it does. And if you are from, you know, some country in Europe or America or South America or whatever, that might sound strange to you, but how do you know that your electricity is going to go out? Because I live in a rather small country down in the bottom of Africa where our government cares a lot about our health. So they've decided that, you know, when the electricity gets a little bit tight and we've got shortages, what they'll do is they'll put it off for us, which means that we must go outside and enjoy the warm spring air that we're having at the moment. So yeah, very considerate government. They want us to go outside and just turn off the technology a little bit, spend time with your family, spend time in the sun, you know. They're so considerate. We also have a name for it. It's called load shedding. Yeah, to shed the load of electricity. And yourself, maybe you should go run. If there are any South Africans watching this video, you will probably appreciate this. Or actually you won't. You'll probably hate it and be like, nah. So yeah, now that you know that and my long story, it's a very interesting thing. It's terrible. We don't like it, but you know, not much we can do about it. Okay, so back to StarCraft. Sorry, not talking politics. That wasn't a politics thing. And Zergling speed coming up. We see the usual. Second bases for both players. Nice little wall off here. We're on Cosmic Sapphire, by the way. Hopefully Classic can pull this back. So far it looks like he's kind of being dominated by Solar. Yeah, Solar, I mean, this is what I talk about. Solar is just Mr. Consistent. He's just very good. Now, I mean, just winning with straight up Zerglings, Baitelings, going into Hydras, and then the Lurkers. Now, from Classic, we see a Robo opener. So he's not going for the Stargate. He's going straight into a Robo. Does that mean he's going to want to get some Colossus out? Because if this match is anything to show, Solo's been favoring his Zerglings. Now, Colossus are good against Hydras and Zerglings. Any light unit, they get plus bonus damage to light armored units, or light units, not armored, and Zerglings and Hydras are both light units. Getting the Wall Prism up, getting the Robo Bay. Is he going Disruptor Drop? That'll be very exciting. This Stalker, meanwhile, thinks he's at the disco. Stalker, please, you're supposed to be a bouncer. You're not supposed to go into the club. Or maybe he's just dancing in the door. If that's a Disruptor Drop, that'll be very exciting. Hope it works. Something, you know, some of these things, we see them come up every now and then. Sometimes they lose favor. The pros stop playing them for a little bit. And then every now and then, one pro decides to bring it up and it deals a bunch of damage. Because with it, yeah, there it is, Disruptor Drop. With the Wall Prism speed, this could be very exciting. Because essentially when it comes down to it, these pros get really good at defending against different shenanigans, like Disruptor Drops. So when the strategy is played too often, ooh, these Zerglings, it's going to be fun. There isn't the depth. Oh, they sneak in. They are going to get the full scout. That is not what Classic wanted. He wanted to keep that hidden. Solo knows exactly what's coming up. Okay, Colossus is next. So he's just going to take one Disruptor. That's all he really needs. This Wall Prism is spotted. At the same time, Solo going for the Roach Warren. So we'll see what he gets done with that. But yeah, in terms of these strategies, okay, are you going to try to get the queens? Puts 2 queens on low health. I don't know if that was worth it. I guess he doesn't really want to lose the War Prism. He's just going to try to put some pressure on. He knows because it's scouted, it's not going to be as effective. That was a very good scout by Solo, sneaking those Zerglings in. But yeah, the pros get very good at defending the strategies, and so then they have to come up with new strategies. And this is the case with a lot of things. When Oracles were first introduced into the game, it was very normal to see Oracles come up against Zerg players and get rid of, you know, 4, 5, 6 workers easily, every game. Then the Zerg players got very good at defending against them, and now we see Oracles, and they sometimes get through to do damage, but it generally requires more than one Oracle, and that's if the Zerg player isn't really paying attention. So, you know, they get used to defending it. Something like an Oracle is still used because it has a lot of value. It's the same for Widow Mine Drops. Yes, Widow Mine Drops can deal a lot of damage, but often they're just more annoying. Just a skill check. Are you aware of this? Are you ready to defend it? If you're not, you're going to lose a bunch of workers. So yeah, this one has now cycled in again. Unfortunately, didn't really work. Now he's got 2 disruptors. That's going to be better. 2 disruptors will get rid of queens. And a bunch of workers if he gets it right. Solo at this stage, he's been on top of it. Yeah. He's all over the map. He is just bouncing this away every single moment. At the same time, the Spire is coming up. Are we going to see mutas? Mutas are fantastic because obviously Solo knows that this is disruptors. Ooh, yeah, just going to get rid of the queen. And he knows that there's no Stargate. So with no Stargate, mutas become very dangerous because there's no phoenixes to deal with them. If you've opened Stargate, it's very easy. You just chrono out a bunch of phoenixes and you're pretty safe because phoenixes, when equally microed, will beat mutalisks. 11 mutalisks coming up. They are going to deal a good amount of damage. Solo's Classic has got to be prepared for this. And look at that, the Stalker count. Not that high. How many Stalkers does he have? He's got 8 Stalkers. There's going to be more mutas than there are Stalkers. Yeah, there they are. Solo. Yeah, he's got a bunch more coming. Let's see what they can get done. He's going to try fly across the map. At the same time, a couple of Zerglings, a couple of Roaches working on the rocks here. Yeah, let's see the mutas. Dum da da dum. Death from above. Solo looking very good in this game. He sees there's nothing much. He even jumps on the Stalkers. He's not too bothered. Recall is being used. That's going to get a bunch more Stalkers back in. Don't lose the mutas for free. 4 workers down so far. I think Classic might be in a little bit of panic because I don't think he's got enough to deal with this. At the same time, Zergling run by on the 4th base. This is going to deal some damage. 5 workers have gone down so far. The mutas are going to be jumping on this base. Classic just picking the right approach every time. 9 workers down. These mutas starting to wreck this mineral line. These Zerglings doing their job too. There's a bunch of stalkers, but yeah, 26 workers going down. Classic is in deep trouble, and I think Solar may have just bested him in this match. Zerglings coming to reinforce. The door is open. 27 workers down. Classic, I don't think, has anything left to defend. We should see the GG shortly. Solar just playing a solid game of Zerg versus Protoss. 30 workers. The Colossus is here. That's going to help against the Zerglings, but Colossus don't shoot up. Getting rid of the disruptor, moving into the main. Yeah, Classic's holding on. This is his tournament life that he's holding on to. He's trying, but he's down 60 supply. And he's got no real answer to these mutas yet. Look, they're just going to be bouncing between the bases. There you go. At the same time, a couple more Zerglings coming into this base. Yeah, back up to the main. This must be so frustrating to play. That's 50 workers down. Oh, that's actually mutalist this way. I thought it was Zergling reinforcements. GG is called. Solar beats Classic in an absolutely well played best of 5 series. I hope you enjoyed this best of 5. If you did, let me know, and I'll try add some more best of 3s, best of 5s. Don't know about best of 7s, they might be a bit long, but it was really good fun, and good fun to see the progression between them. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to drop a like rating. I do appreciate it. If you want to see more StarCraft content, subscribe to the channel, and I really appreciate all the support. It's been really awesome, so thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.